We're live.
Go.
Okay, so
Okay.
in watching the videos, the thing that really strikes me the most is that I think I'm doing heel leads, but I'm not.
Uh-huh.
I look at my feet, most of the time it's either flat or sometimes even toe, and once in a while a heel, but it's real inconsistent and it's actually flat. And I thought I was doing heel leads, so that really just.
That's why the video is good
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that,
yeah,
because
yeah.
you see things and you're like, oh, I didn't
Because I was
realize.
looking at Kelly, I said, he's so flat. That's exactly what I look like when I used to. So,
Yeah, but it's good when you can see it in other people too, because then you go, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I really want
And then she's got the problem of always being on her toes and everything, so.
Yeah,
Today I think we should.
just the opposite problem.
Yeah, let's really focus on footwork.
Okay,
And the other thing that strikes me is I feel like I'm doing my open rights and open left very awkwardly. It's not
Okay.
like I feel like my legs are kind of, you know,
Uh-huh.
it's not graceful, so I want to do a little
okay,
mechanics work on that.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
and so I thought maybe we should start with a dance rhythm, like the waltz,
okay,
because then we don't have to worry about the mechanics of the dance so much, just worry about the feet and everything
Right.
and try to see if we can get that to work.
Well, one of the things that I noticed for your footwork, and just saying that, of adding on to what you're saying, is that a lot of times I see you pick up
Yeah,
your
yeah,
feet, like
yeah.
you can actually see kind of your
Yeah.
knees
Oh,
lifting
yeah.
and your feet coming from
Yeah.
the floor. And I know we've done this, but it's
Yeah.
like that drill, that exercise that's good to keep doing, you know,
Yeah.
even though it's not one that you're going to just do once and got it.
And then the other thing is when you step and you catch up and go, you know, I don't do that.
That collection.
I just go step,
Yeah.
step, step,
Yeah,
step.
yeah.
And I look like when I'm doing my steps, I'm just too casual, just kind of walking, and you need to have a little more, you know, rise and
Right.
fall
Uh-huh.
and little,
Uh-huh.
so that's what I want to work on.
Yeah, okay. So, and I think if we do it kind of towards the mirror, you can see it okay with the camera,
Yeah.
right? So let's just work on, so the first thing, and maybe I'll do it a little bit this way. The first thing is just going through floor contact with your feet. So if I'm going to do, let's say we're going to do a heel lead, and I'll take my left foot forward. So right now it's underneath me, but as it comes out, it's going to change from which part of the foot that I have contact with. So it's kind of the whole foot underneath me. And then the ball of the foot starts to lift, but the heel is still in contact. And then I lightly skim the floor with the heel, right? As opposed to actually lifting and placing it, right?
Okay.
And as you get used to it, it actually gives you much better balance. I was just noticing, we were working on some turns for Carol, and she has a habit of picking her feet up too, and it makes it really hard to balance because you're balancing on one foot,
Yeah.
right? So using the floor to keep your balance is really
Yeah.
useful,
Makes
right?
sense. You're standing on 2 feet instead of 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And I think that in my own personal dancing, when I understood that, the more I can keep contact with 2 feet, both feet have some kind of connection to the floor, the easier it is to
Yeah.
balance. Balancing on one foot for anybody is not easy.
Oh, yeah. That's why I can't ice skate on one, because I can't go 1 foot at a time. I have to
Yeah.
go both feet in there.
Yeah.
Or even skiing, I'm going down.
Right, right. Okay, so from here again, of getting that feeling of, and this is good practice to just swing the foot back and forth, and I'm never completely leaving contact with the floor, right? So there's some part of the foot, and even when I get it out to here and I go to take a step, it's lightly,
Yeah.
right? And that way I can change the amount of pressure. If I need to slow myself down, I feel like I'm too fast, I
Right.
add a little bit more pressure, like the braking system,
Yeah,
right? And if I want to go faster, I release the pressure, so then I can move through,
Yeah.
quicker, yeah. So, but it always gives me that nice feeling of balance. And then the back foot, once you can see, once I moved on to the forward one, I'm still using that back one right now to balance me. If I let it go,
Right.
then, and now as it comes underneath, it's got the toe to the ball of the foot, to the whole foot, the toe starts lifting, heels in contact, and I go forward. So again, it's that process of it, and that's where it's always collecting underneath here and then starting the next step from that spot, right? Because what happens, and I see this in your footwork sometimes, is that you take the step And then this back foot goes from here
Yeah,
to
right,
there,
yeah.
right? Instead of coming through and then moving,
Uh-huh.
right? So that it's that process of that even tempo instead of
Right.
all at once, right? So just practicing just heel leads is what we're doing each time right now, of just getting used to feeling some part of the foot on the floor. So it's almost like an even flow.
We should
Right.
actually go toward the camera because we actually get on the frame.
Yeah.
So let's start here and kind of go diagonally toward the camera.
Do you see what I mean? So I can get that to where I feel like that flow is constant from foot to foot instead of, right? Okay, so we'll go ahead and start left foot again. So I'll just put it out. And then the back foot is keeping pressure. And if I find myself losing balance a little bit,
Yeah.
I put a little bit more pressure into that foot to stabilize me.
Oh, yeah, I have trouble even keeping my balance. You know, I really work on the balance.
Yeah.
It's not like automatic.
Yeah. Another thing is that watch your eye level. So if you pick something like if I pick the restroom sign that's like right about my eye level or slightly higher, and I focus on that as I'm moving, it keeps me from doing this, which makes it harder to balance if my spine is not aligned. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why I have such a hard time keeping balance. I guess maybe that deer has to watch it.
Let's walk the line.
Yeah, right. Officer, I'm practicing my dancing.
And have you seen those YouTube videos where the dancers actually get out and do all these dances and stuff where they're supposed to be, oh yeah, you want to see me walk line? And I'm like, da da da, do it all. And they're like, what? How much did you have to drink? And we'll do it one more time going forward.
That's crazy. I can't walk a straight line without I'm just teeter-tottering.
Yeah, and if you hear like that little clunk with your heel, that usually means that you lifted it up and you're putting it back down, right? I mean, and that's going to happen occasionally, but if you have dance shoes that have suede on them, I don't know if yours do, like if you don't, they tend to be a little noisier. Yeah, you don't. You have rubber on yours. So those tend to be a little bit noisier, but you, again, think of that last point of just that light skimming, because it's the angle that your foot hits the floor that causes the noise. And you know, I noticed that some people, when they are doing heel leads, and this might be a little bit of that if I do it towards the camera, my shoes I got stepped on a little bit here, is that they do you see how I'm kind of lifting my toes up? When they go to do a heel lead, they actually lift the toe.
Yeah.
And I want to do it from, so if you hold on to me, you can just hold on to my shoulder, and you put your foot up, and without curling the toes at all, lifting the toes up, think about doing everything from the ankle. So the toes are relaxed, and I'm not doing this. See how you can see the crease in my shoe if I'm doing the toes? And to me, that does something to your footwork there. Yeah, so it's all in the ankle. So when it goes here, it's in the ankle and not the toe. It's because I believe if you lift it from the toes, it tends to clunk more. But if you do just a little bit with the ankle, and then move on to it. And a little bit with the ankle, and then move. A little bit with the ankle. Yeah. But that was better, though.
Yeah.
Mhm. And you're probably just going to hear yours a little more just because of what it's made out of. Yeah. And then going backwards. Maybe we'll turn and go backwards towards the camera. So going backwards, the key thing is that we want to actually lift our toes off the floor. And the tendency is that we grip with the toes. So the other way, we're lifting the toes. Now we're like gripping down when we back up. So we have to, so if I hold on here so you can see, again, I have to use the ankle, right? So I don't want to just lift the toes like that. I want to use the ankle. And that's, and now how much, you don't have to exaggerate. A lot of people like really pull it back, but it shouldn't like hurt your calf muscle. It's just pulling away from the foot. Yeah, and if you want to hold on to something, you can. Yeah, and then if you rewound the video or played it backwards as we went forward, it should actually look the same, because when you go forward, you see the toes drop down. When you go backwards, you see the toes lift up first, right? And then also watch, if you do it, now do it towards the mirror, or come to the mirror and back up, because you also want to watch that your placement, when you step back, that your feet aren't turning out, that they're still parallel under the same track, and that they're not like twisting. And again, when I'm stepping back, once I lift the toes, then the heel has slight contact. It gets underneath the body, it goes to the whole foot, it gets behind the body, it goes from the ball of the foot to the toe, and then it moves back. So there's that whole thing, again, just played in reverse. Whoop, whoop. So if you did, again, if you played your video backwards, I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell if, are we doing the forward part or are we doing the back part, because it looks the same in reverse, right? Because it's still that kind of rolling through the feet. And what you saw, that flat-footed, you know, you're stepping and you don't see that happening. You just see the foot lifting and being placed down. You don't see the rolling. Yeah. And again, if we actually stopped it midway, right, and the frame, you would see this, like you would see like part, right, this happening. Instead of, yeah. So I remember as a brand new teacher doing this over and over for hours, right? Because it's hard to balance in the beginning, especially if you have heels too. And you just have to do it until you can get your center of balance, so your body starts to memorize that feeling.
You can do up and down and hallway.
Yeah.
We remember we had done that.
And then you can back up down the hallway. That might be a little more dangerous, but yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's a different thing.
Right?
We got to think about that.
Yeah. And you do have to think about it in the beginning.
It doesn't come automatically.
Because, but if you think about it, some people do, like I think you do tend to walk a little flat-footed when you walk. You do walk that way. But mostly, if I just walked, you roll through, you do that. You do that naturally, right? So maybe we're exaggerating that natural just a little bit to get more movement, to get a bigger walking step. But we naturally roll through the feet without even thinking about it.
And
What we don't do.
Do it just like you walk, then it's easier to do.
Yeah.
If you say, oh, drag your toe, do all this
When
stuff.
you're walking, you're not usually losing your balance.
Right. You're like walking down the hall like this. But what's really good is that it's really good for stabilizing our balance and understanding our balance, because that's the thing as we age, they say, right? Balance classes and stuff that they help. So understanding your balance point and understanding where the weakness is and really what the structure is for walking. Now, the only thing about keeping your feet really close to the floor that I find when I go hiking is I tend to trip on everything. So you can tell dancers like trip on in nature. A crack on the sidewalk and I'm down.
It's getting easier the more I practice it. You
Yeah.
think about it just like walking.
Just like walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do have to look and see what's there, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. But what's the nice thing about on a dance floor is it's usually pretty smooth, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have those concerns. There's not like,
Except
Garbage.
for those arcade floors that they bring in.
oh, yeah, yeah,
Murder.
yeah. And then even walking backwards, if I just said, oh, will you take a few steps back, you wouldn't do
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
that. You would roll through the feet. That's kind of a natural thing. But when we start thinking about dancing, we're trying to force ourselves to do something. Yeah? So if you walk backwards and keep your toes pinned to the floor, like you can't lift your toes up, you can feel like it's kind of eliminates a lot of your movement, right? You can't really go very far. And if your partner is moving forward towards you and they can go easily forward, when you go backwards, you need all the help that you can to be able to move as much as the person going forward. So by picking the toes up off the floor, it allows me to get, so if I keep my toes in contact, you can see I can't really get too far, but releasing the toe lets my leg swing. Watch out behind you. Yeah. Lets my leg swing and really allows me to move. So if you're going to walk forward, and if I'm just going to stand in front of you and you walk forward, I can keep up with your pace, right? But if we turn around this way and I do it without letting my toes come off the floor, you can see I can't.
Yeah.
I'm
I
out of
have to
sync.
restrain my steps
Yeah.
because you're smaller.
And there's like a difference in synchronizing my movement with you. Like I can't react as quickly as I can when I release the toes. Yeah. Yeah. So you want to try that together one time? Just walking. So you, did you see what we did? Or were you busy doing? So he walked forward and I just gave a little distance.
Yeah.
And I just tried to time, like I'm noticing the swing of his leg and trying to time my step with it.
Okay.
Yeah? So that's good for lead and follow too. And then you can tell, like, is she in sync with you, or is she a little ahead or a little behind?
It doesn't feel like it's totally right on, a little bit off.
Yeah, can you tell which way? Is she faster or slower?
Yeah, probably. She's always ahead.
Yeah.
I'm guessing ahead.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
always ahead.
But so that's a good practice exercise so that you can get used to. So let me do it one time, and I'm going to try to be synchronized with you. And I'm synchronizing with his leg swing. Now, I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to be just ever so slightly ahead of you.
And you can feel it. It's like watching TV and it looks like
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, right. That's a good way to think of it, right? So then you know that, oh, I guess I have a little bit more time than I realized, right? And then, okay, let me see if I slow it down a little bit. Maybe I get too slow. Then you got to speed it up, find that little happy medium. But try it one more time. So we're going to think about your slowing down just a little bit. So you've got more time than you realized.
I feel like it's too slow.
Too slow.
I'm stepping.
Okay.
I'm,
And see, that happens a lot, right? You adjust a little bit too much, because usually it's a very minor adjustment. And it's easier to make big adjustments.
It's better, but it's still a little bit off.
And could you tell which way that time?
I'm not sure.
Not sure?
It just doesn't feel like it's totally.
Try one more time. I think it takes a while to really feel the...
I'm sleeping. Sleepwalking.
And I would say, Elliot, watch, and I only notice this because I'm behind, you're
I
a
lean.
little bit, when you walk into your right foot, you're leaning just a little
Well,
bit
I
to
feel
your
like
right.
I'm out of balance, so as I'm walking,
Yeah, it's hard to keep the balance. So watch right now. Pick up your right side just a little bit. There you go.
see, I mean,
Oh, then that makes you
I'm
fall
going
to the
off- I'm
left.
going off the rails here.
Ah,
I don't know
so
why.
you're using that to balance you.
Yeah.
Well, should we both answer?
Wait. Keep it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. Did that feel more in sync with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's reverse it. So if you're this way, let me walk. I'm going to have you go backwards, and I'm going to go forward, and then I'll have you guys do it. So, yeah, so go ahead and go back with your right foot this time. Oh, so I started to follow you, actually. Oh, I didn't get you move yet. So you're following me.
Oh, I follow you. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and just because when we move backwards when doing the men's part, you still have to have the awareness of, is the lady coming with me? Because I don't want to like pull her into the step. So I want that awareness of when she starts moving, then you can move, right? So you can't really start moving till I do. So go ahead and walk forward again. And I'm going to follow you. And then,
I want to see if we can do this now.
and then now go ahead and walk back. Let's go. Let's switch feet. You're fine with that, yeah.
You're closing the gap on.
A little bit, but I think our speed, I just took a
Yeah.
little bit bigger step than you. Yeah. So you want to try that one time? And it's more about just awareness of each other, right? Because if you're dancing together, you have to have a pretty strong awareness of what you're doing, each other, what each person is doing. Okay, now reverse. Go forward with your left, Linda. Oh.
She's wobbling.
She's not going to pass the alcohol test.
No, I started out wobbling because I had to go forward with my left foot.
Oh.
You know, I don't know.
So if you did like a box step, you'd go back with your right and you'd go forward with your left, right? So that's, yeah,
I just kind of got
yeah.
out of sync from the beginning, from the very start.
Okay, and then one last one, let's do side steps. So turn towards the mirror for a second, and we'll go to this side first since we're over here. So I'm going to put my toe out, and again, I'm just going to slide the foot with contact, right, instead of lifting to that. So I'm lifting up the heel, but the toe's still in contact. Then I'm going to use the foot that I'm stepping with, and then I draw that in, lift, push, draw, lift, push, draw. So I'm still having contact with the floor. And then if we go the other way and I take my left foot out, and then you can see that if I take it out and then push from my standing foot, I can get even a little bit wider step. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little easier, I think.
Yeah.
Or side steps are the easiest ones, right? Because it's easier to balance this way than this way. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so if you did a box step, right, if I bring you back out this way and you did just a box step without turning, and you go to here, there, so we can synchronize, and I believe you're keeping contact, right? Yeah, right? You're keeping contact with the
But
with
I
the
still
floor.
tend to slide it down and
Not do the heel?
Not really do a heel.
Yeah, let's do it one more time. So step, heel, heel. Yeah, and even when you do a heel forward, so instead of if we look at it from the side, if I start doing a heel from here, then I tend to do this. But as my foot, do you see where it
Yeah.
changes to a heel? Right there.
Uh-huh.
So right before I step,
Uh-huh.
instead of, and I think if I do it too early, that's when it
Uh-huh.
makes me want to pick it up
Right.
like that. So I'm going to slide the foot, then take the heel. Yeah. Yeah, that was nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so those are the footwork drills. And it's just like doing those over and over until you can do it automatically, because when you're thinking about your steps and the music and the lead and follow, it's hard to get all those things happening at the same time. Then you see yourself focused on something else and go, oh, my feet look like this, you know, so, yeah. Yeah.
Let's try that.
You want music? You can do music.
Then you feel it more, you know?
Yeah. And so we're going to focus as we do it on feeling the floor, keeping contact with the floor, right? I just had my ancestral stuff done. Have you guys done that? Oh, you did it, I know, because you...
Did you do 23andMe or did you do the other one?
My mom sent it to me, the ancestry one. Yeah. And I thought I was more Norwegian than I was. I'm like more English and Wales. And yeah, I didn't even know I was that.
Well, I thought it would be 100% Scandinavian too.
And you were, what percentage were you?
86.
Oh,
My
I was 19%, but they show you what region too in Norway and that, yeah.
Yeah, I have all these little dots all over.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Kind of interesting. Oh, I got to make sure I do the dance vision one. There we go.
I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, and do that one more time and see about keeping contact with your feet as you start, because you did really good in the box, and then when you started moving out of the box, keep contact. Keep contact. Okay, so that was definitely much better with the awareness
When I do the
of,
box, I can do the thing better, but then when I try to do the open turns, I kind of go back.
Right.
back with it.
yeah, that's why I was saying, yeah, to
Yeah.
watch on that. And so here's something that I think is the good next step for both of you that I was noticing is, you know, when we were doing this practice and we put the foot there and you could see how the leg got to like a full extension
Uh-huh.
and then moved on to it. And then there was like a relaxation of the knee. But what I'm seeing with both of you, and you'll see that on the video when you watch that, is that it only goes to here.
And then stop.
You take bigger steps that way you can.
Well, I think it's the, instead of here, I just need, from the knee down, it's not getting that full extension.
Oh, I see.
Right, so I see that, you see how the knee, you kind of see the knee as almost as far out as the foot, where I need the foot to be extended fully, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe that's why he's.
and on the forward and back step both, yes. Yeah. Uh-huh. So I think that's one of the things that you're seeing, is you just see that knee, and that makes it kind of flat,
Yeah.
like that, yeah. So getting that full extension, so if I do that with you, and as you step forward, and I step forward, that full extension. Now, if I do just from the knee,
Uh-huh.
you feel how it kind of cuts off the
Yeah.
step?
Yeah.
And it makes me get there sooner, too. Made me like because I'm not taking the time to get the full extension from the knee down and then moving into it. Yeah, it kind of cuts the music a bit. Yeah?
Feels awkward, like.
Awkward when you're doing it? But you were definitely getting more extension for both of you. But I think getting the timing of that, let me bend your elbow just a little bit. There you go.
Your leg definitely does not straighten fully when you move forward.
Right, you can see it, right, when you're not.
Bending your knee. That's better.
And I'm trying to give you a little extra time, especially when you're going forward there. And, yeah, and I feel like
So
you're,
like,
you're
yeah.
kind of tipping, and you might be both used to kind of tipping that way a little bit. When you step forward with your left foot, stand on your right foot for a second. Step forward with your left and watch that you're not tipping that way. Go ahead and start putting your foot out in front of you. That's it. So that you have time to get it out there. And, so take it out. Yeah. And take your, there you go. That's it. You see, that was better, wasn't it? And now take your foot back behind you. And then I'm going to drive. And then you put your heel out, you drive. I'm going to drive. That's looking better?
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to see when you're not dancing in it, though, right? Yeah.
It takes an effort, because even when she extends, like, it's not like this, it's like slightly bent.
Uh-huh.
Well, it used to be like this. and
Yeah.
Now it's like here, but it's not like that.
Full on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can see how you get in the habit of just stepping
Yeah.
like that.
Uh,
Almost like you're stepping down into a hole,
Yeah.
right? Instead of gliding across the floor.
yeah.
Yeah. And getting that here. So this is like the prep that I do before I take the step. But if I do that and take the step at the same time, I don't have time to get my foot there, then move myself over it. Do you see the difference of that? So getting the foot out in advance, then moving, or getting the foot and movement at the same time. So I'm always getting the foot, then I move. I get the foot there, then I move out onto it. And it happens pretty fast, but if I try to slow this down into slow motion, you see the leg is there before I even start going anywhere. Right? Instead of everything at the same time. See the difference?
Yeah.
So that's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
You're seeing everything happening together. Actually, yeah, go ahead and do it one time. And then I'm going to do it with Elliot where you can watch and see what you think about his leg straightening. Well, you're definitely moving more now.
I think I don't want to hear my heel clunk,
Ah. Maybe we need some other shoes.
so yeah.
Those are nice and comfortable, though, I'm sure.
Feels better with me.
Yeah.
So now watch his forward and back leg. And then before you go.
Who did this order?
There you go. Because the first thing that I feel is the.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to slow you down. Go ahead and put your back foot, your right foot out behind you before you step. Just put it out and try to straighten the leg out. That's it. To here. Whoops.
What did you do? I thought you
So-
said to put this one, right?
Yeah, so when you did this,
Yeah.
when you went to take the step, you did that. You actually brought it back in.
Oh, you're saying just complete the step?
Yeah.
I didn't
So
understand.
put the foot back behind you. You know how I was doing that with Linda, where I had her put the foot, then, and now put your foot forward. Uh-huh. And you're not doing anything with the body yet. You do the leg in preparation, and then you move yourself onto it. Yeah. We put the foot first. And so while you're putting the foot out, you need to keep yourself balanced over this foot. So this is going to help for your right side tipping. So when you move the right leg out, put a little extra balance over the left side, right? So now, and then pick yourself back up, because I feel like we're getting closer here, right? So here, and then relax. Yeah, that's it. Right, you don't realize that you're not until you're like, oh, your shoulders just dropped 2 inches. So, foot.
That's better.
And then, there you go, and then relax the shoulders. That's it. Oh, sorry, you're going back. Sorry, that's where we stopped, I guess, right? Right before you go. So don't move the body yet. Start to just get the leg in place, then move. Yeah, you'll have much better balance if you separate those. So don't move yet till you get the leg there. Get the leg all the way there.
So like,
And then-
should like be straight then?
Yeah.
instead of- Okay.
So as you're standing here, and you put a little bit of extra balance over the left foot to there, and then you push off. And then we'll stop right here for a second. Put your leg out. And now push forward onto it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's good, huh? But see, if you don't take the time to get your leg there in preparation, then you're not going to have time to straighten it.
It's like his.
And stop right there again.
forward, His leg is good, straight. So going back is not quite as straight, but I don't know.
That's better?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and then just reminding you is that as you're moving, your posture's creeping
Yeah.
forward. And then I'd stop and bring you back to here, and then you start moving again. Stop and bring you back to here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't realize it, right? Your body's just doing what it automatically thinks it needs to do to balance itself. But we have a better way to balance it. Whoa, yeah.
You let me.
Oh, I
I was gonna stick my leg out early and you had already gone. So.
But you can feel, right, when
Yeah.
that happens, so you
Yeah.
sort of get out of sync.
See, I'm trying to actually delay, like, before I start, I'm gonna stick my leg out.
Yes.
And then I'm gonna.
Yes.
One, two,
Okay.
three. Back. 1, 2, 3.
Well, I
Pause.
had my leg out.
And then eventually, you're not going to completely pause.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you do have to practice it that way.
Yeah.
But if you watch me now, I'm not completely pausing, but if you can actually see that I'm continuing to move, but I'm not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And my movement might just be this way. Do you see it? My movement is vertically, right? Not horizontal at this point. So a little vertical, then horizontal. Vertical, then horizontal movement, right? So it's still movement. And then watch the posture. That's it. There you go. And then watch how tight your grip is with your right hand too, Elliot. So it tends to get a little bit tighter in here
Yeah.
as you're moving along. So then you want to make sure, or else you're going to pull her out of her balance point. Yeah. But I think when you watch the video, you'll be able to watch the difference from what you were doing before and what you're doing now. Yeah, nice. And so remember the vertical and then the horizontal movement. Yeah. Funny how much work that can be just
Yeah.
doing the box step,
Yeah.
right? Or the walls.
Well, I can feel the difference.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. And you're moving a lot more
Yeah.
and you're not,
we still don't have it smoothed out yet, but you know, at least
right? And when you watch it again, watch for the leg extension. And once you start moving, your leg's going to try to get there to catch you. So it's going to do that. I have to do this before I start moving, right? And that's the tricky part because we keep thinking, oh, take a step and move.
Yeah.
And we don't do the prep for the movement to happen.
So when you do this is when you go down.
Yeah. So you can see is when I'm bending, I would never just do this. I would either be doing this or that, right? As I'm bending, I'm prepping in the direction that I'm going to go. Right? So each time I'm bending, instead of just bending with my feet here and then go step, I'm prepping, my foot's ready to catch me when I move into the step. Yeah. Yeah. Or else you get all this movement and then it's hard to balance yourself, right? And then that's when you start losing your balance.
put some music on this.
Mhm. These aren't the slowest waltzes, but
Yeah.
they're
Okay.
ones that won't get tagged.
Yeah. Last week we did one song tag, but I think that was you accidentally played something you didn't intend
Oh, we got tagged last
Yeah.
time? Uh-oh. Oh, you know what? Because it slipped into
Yeah,
another
right,
song.
right,
You're
right.
right, I did remember that. I got to do that separate playlist too. Now, Linda, watch that you don't bend your body forward when you take the step. That's better.
you're still reading. You're just
A little ahead,
Just
yeah.
a little bit ahead, I guess.
Yeah. And the more you can get the leg in preparation. That's where I wait for him too, so I don't go faster than him. I'm preparing, so when he goes, I'm ready. Yeah, do that one more time and see, like you have this nice straight leg, then you went into this other one and then it was like,
Okay.
right? See if you can get that same idea, even if you have to do it a little slower. Oop, that one got cut off. And reach, and that's it. Full stride, there you go. Stride and stride, stride, stride. Yeah. Oh, workout, huh? Yeah, and so when you do the twinkle, so if we stopped right here, so if we put our leg through all the way to here, and put the heel down before, so go ahead and see how my leg is extended further than yours? Yeah. So you're in the lead position, so your foot should actually be slightly in front of mine. So now it's there. Now we're going to push it even farther forward. And then right here.
You actually take a bigger step also.
And then right, yeah, and then once you get onto this one, put your left one behind you, right? So swing it out. Do you see how I have mine? So straighten your leg behind you. Your left one, yeah. Did I say right?
No, no. you
Okay.
said it.
Okay, and then just stand up a little bit more. That's it. Here. Okay, now you're going to push yourself backwards. Push into, nice. You feel that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we started here from the twinkle, where you put your foot here, now you're going to push yourself forward. And that momentum is actually going to help you get around.
And it feels really good when you're dancing. You got this thrust.
So now you're going to drive forward and come around. And now, up. Okay, land on that foot. Put your weight on your right foot. And now put your left foot behind you. And we're going to drive back onto that. Yeah? So see, that's all getting the foot out ahead of the body, or else everything moving at once doesn't really go anywhere. It's more putting the brakes
That's
on.
why I was feeling awkward when I said I feel awkward. The motion disappeared. And
Let me
we
do
just-
that with you, Linda. So when we did in fact, let's move back this way to make sure we're in the camera. So when we do the twinkle here, I'm going to stop right here. So instead of just moving, I'm going to put the leg through, and now I'm going to drive onto it. And watch that you don't do this. Watch that your upper body doesn't come forward. I'm going to drive to here, and then now here, put your foot out in front of you, and we're going to drive onto that. And then put your foot out in front, and we're going to drive onto that. Yeah? You can see how getting the foot out is the key to balancing. If your foot's there, it's there to catch you. If your body's falling, and then your foot goes at the same time, you're going to be always slightly off balance, right? So the key is to get the foot there in preparation to move onto it, either behind you. Same thing when you go to the side, the foot's in preparation to catch me, right? Instead of falling into the step.
Put some music
Well-
on, and let me try to do that with you first. Just
Okay.
So I can get the real feeling of what it should feel like.
And then now with music, it's going to make you go a little faster to keep up with the music. So it's a little harder to get in.
Boy, that feels so much better.
Oh, really going there, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell the difference, I mean, it's, because otherwise it's just step, 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 and I always feel like when I went around, when feet are getting tangled up.
And you feel like you get this flow
Yeah.
of movement, right? And you one thing kind of leads right into
Right,
the other.
right, right.
Yeah.
But I really have to think about thinking of pushing off the step
Yes.
and everything.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's easy just to go step, step, step,
Yeah.
and think you did it.
Yay. How'd that feel?
Better.
Yeah. Let me do a little bit with Linda too.
I lifted my feet off a couple times, you know.
But already, I thought you
Yeah.
covered the floor really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you're a little bit stiff with this arm,
Okay.
right? So it's a little straight.
Yeah.
And like the times when I'm coming around you here, it's harder to get around because that arm, yeah. And when you're starting, I can feel your, yeah, when you're taking your foot behind, you're doing this to,
Stay here.
yeah, nice. Yeah, so there, I'm trying to get you to go back, actually.
Okay.
And a little stiff with this arm. There you go. Go back. Up. Let me do that one more time. Yeah. So a little bit more here because you're pushing me away. So, and when I'm going backwards, the man going backwards, the lady going forward, I'm using her power here. So instead of me going first, I'm hoping that you're going to put your foot out in front of you. And now drive, drive.
And like he goes, she goes.
Yeah. Because whoever's going forward is going to have a little bit more power
Right.
into the step. Yeah, you see right there how, when you took your step into promenade. So step with your left foot, and then pick yourself up. That's it, because you're kind of leaning a little bit towards me. There you go. Now put your foot out, straighten it all the way out, then move on to it. Yeah. And now right here, put your foot out, straighten it all the way. Whoops. Yeah, and push off, put your foot out one more time. Push off the back foot now. Put your foot in front of you again. Now push off the back. Right here, same thing here. Put your foot in front of you. Push off the back foot. And then as you do, watch your body coming forward. So put your foot in front of you. And watch your body coming forward. Push. Yeah. 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 It's a workout, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to do one more? So when you go up to regular speed, you're not going to get every one of those, but if you could at least get a few in there. And push, drive.
I feel like when I'm going back, I'm the one that's providing the power. Like, I'm dragging her toward me and kind of twirling her around.
Right.
But she should be the one that's
Right, so
driving.
if you're going back, right here, let me just do that. Right, let's say I'm in this part where I'm going back, you're going back, excuse me, with your left foot, and I'm going forward with my right. So, and then watch your balance, there you go. And so right here, so if we're I'll do the first part of it, so you know where we're at. So, and then stop right here, so again, put your foot out, drive, and then
And
right
here is where
yeah.
I feel like I'm pulling
Yeah.
you in and around.
Yeah, but here, stay over this foot, your right foot, put your left one behind you, and when you put your left one behind you, don't be careful of starting to pull, because if you're pulling me, I can't help you.
Right,
But if I'm, you see how?
Yeah. That's what I think it should be, but somehow I feel compelled, but it actually feels good, like we're getting momentum and I'm helping it, but I shouldn't be doing that.
You don't want to be pulling her, because if you're pulling her, then what we're actually doing is sort of resisting.
Yeah.
Anything that's being pulled is going to have the brakes
Do
on
you
a
feel
little
like
bit.
I pull you as I back up or not? Like, we kind of get
I don't know.
You're kind of just used to what you kind of
Yeah.
create together. But yeah, I can see that what happens is that you kind of set yourself up so when it comes to that point, you have your brakes on a little bit so you don't get pulled over. You might not realize it, but you're actually slowing down the momentum so that you don't get pulled over, because that's what your body will naturally do.
But if she provides a lot of power, then I don't feel like I
Then
have
you
to.
can back
Yeah,
off.
but see,
Right.
I pull her because I feel like it
At
needs to
what
be.
point
pulled.
am
Right.
I supposed to do this power? I guess I don't know that.
Oh, yeah, I'll show you the point.
Yeah, and if you get to that point and stop, because we did do that in
Right.
slow motion, but if you do that,
It's kind of slow motion. 1, 2,
and even right here even.
1, 2, 3. Now this one. 1, 2.
What? Do it one more
I
time.
kinda
Do-
lost my track
yeah, do it
of
one
what I
more
was
time.
doing, yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 1. So right here. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pulling in. We creating some.
It's when you're going forward with on the outside of his foot here, And so what I'm hoping for is instead of pulling you, that you're actually providing momentum because you're the one going forward, right? So it's easier for you to kind of really drive into that foot. So if you drive into that foot. But if she doesn't do that, then you kind of, it's left for you to do.
It sort of works, I mean, you know, like,
Right.
it feels good, like we do a power turn, you know?
Well, let's try it again.
But at the same time, if you're doing all the work, then
Yeah.
she's got to have the brakes on. 'Cause-
Yeah, right.
Well, it isn't right, so.
Right.
I do this regular speed.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1.
That's good.
Yeah, so I always know when I'm going forward and
Yeah.
the man's going back, that
Just a
it's
little
up to
awareness,
me.
that's all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I just need to do where
Yeah.
it's supposed to
Mhm.
be.
And it's when he's going back and you're going forward. And then the other place is when we're both in promenade and we're both stepping forward, actually. So I want to also
Yeah.
provide momentum here,
Right.
but he's also doing it too. So we
Right.
both get to like drive into that one, right?
Yeah, right.
Because we're both going
Yeah.
forward at that point.
I think on that other turn that you're talking about, I think I'm a little afraid of going around too fast.
Right.
So I think I probably do hold back.
Yeah.
So I think I'm afraid I'm gonna go. up
Because,
and
and
go.
then when you hold back,
Yeah.
he feels like he needs to help a little bit
Yeah.
more, so he helps a little more, and then you have to hold back more, and then it starts to create that.
Yeah.
Where, and you can kind of make that work. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of people never get past that, but if you can get that more balanced
Yeah.
lead and follow, it's even more pleasant.
And the people we dance with, probably most of them don't realize that when you move forward, you put the power in.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
I think
So whenever I feel like I'm dancing well, it feels like, yeah, that's.
Yeah.
You know?
Right? Yeah. It feels like you're doing it all though? Or does it feel like the,
Yeah, most of the time I feel like I'm doing it, but the lady follows and, you know, we do okay, and it just feels good.
and it depends on the partner, like you said. So a lot of ladies think that it's up to the man to do everything
Yeah.
and they just need to hold on.
Right.
Yeah. And that's not usually as pleasant for the man,
Yeah.
but the women don't know any better. They think it's great, so.
Okay, I think time's up, it's a good lesson.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Good, just working on those basic techniques that